Well, Don, as you know, every parent wants to do what's best for their child. They want their children to be healthy, and they want to make the right decision. All these parents on both sides of the issue, they love their children. And, for me in my office, Don, it's not so much, about, vaccines and autism as parents just don't want to see their baby suffer any sort of bad vaccine reaction. Frankly, the vaccine reactions are rare, but when they do happen, the parents are afraid that their baby will be one of those statistics. And when they're not afraid of the disease, like measles, which hasn't been around much, a lot of my parents actually opt out of the MMR vaccine because they haven't seen measles as much of a threat until recently.
Is it still a choice, though? Is it still a choice, doctor, when your child has to be around other children, especially in a public school situation?
Well, Don, I think one of the most important things we have in medicine is what's called informed consent. For any medical procedure, you have to inform the patient, whether it's surgery, a medication, or a vaccination. You have to inform them of the pros and the cons. What could the side effects be? What could the harm be from this treatment? And what are the benefits of this treatment? And because every single vaccine has a very small potential to cause harm, I think parents do have the right to receive informed consent and to make that educated decision for their child.
Okay. But Dr. Karp, again, there's no scientific evidence of this. What's your response?
No, it's just nonsense, to be honest with you. I mean, of course there can be a small risk to one thing or another thing. Hey, there's a bigger risk to driving in your car. We don't have our patients going, I'm not going to drive in my car because that's going to be a risk of my child's life today. We have to, look, parents have a tough job. I really agree with Dr. Sears on that. They're trying to make their best choices. But as doctors, we know more than just living in the moment. We've lived over decades. We've learned about these epidemics. We're seeing it now with whooping cough and with measles. The only reason that we're not seeing a lot of illness is because the parents before us and the parents before them were thrilled to get their kids immunized. That's the reason why the diseases are gone. And if parents no longer feel that sense of responsibility, if we don't encourage them and say, hey, you need to do this, not just to protect your child, but what about that kid in the preschool and your next door neighbor's baby and your cousin's baby? We're all in this together. We don't live in a bubble.
Dr. Karp, is it irresponsible to delay that vaccination process?
I think it's irresponsible to avoid vaccines. We have a set schedule because it gets very complicated. Oh, I'll do this one now and I'll do that one then, and the doctors forget and the patients forget. And what happens then is that babies don't get their full vaccination. So we do a schedule so that it allows us, number one, to give the most vulnerable kids the protection they need, and so we can be organized in it. And that's the big reason. So it's irresponsible not to get your kid the right vaccines. Some of the vaccines, if you don't want to give your child a tetanus shot, that's okay. I mean, your child's the only one who's going to suffer from that. No one else is going to suffer. But to not give your child, a whooping cough vaccine or a measles vaccine, that's going to make everybody else suffer. And ultimately, kids are going to die.